I mean, if we don't make playoffs, there's like something seriously wrong with our team. Like I don't know what to say if we don't make playoffs. I honestly, I'll be super embarrassed if we don't make playoffs.
So here I am with Aimke of 1 HP, recently qualified into Element 1 through the Open Qualifier. Aimke, you were kind of expected to be one of the teams invited because you're one of those top T2, T3 teams. Like, how was the grind through the open bracket? Was it hard or did y'all just clear?
I mean, I was playing at a beach house and playing on my knees, so even though it looked nice outside, I was not having a fun time playing calls.
That's
and,
fair enough.
and then Reapist in our close call match decided to do his best game day performance ever to make it close, but it's okay. We closed it out because best of threes are all that matter. Fuck best of ones.
That's true. That's true. Got to show that map pool with those BO3s. Uh, Talking about the team, because this is a little bit of a different look than past tournaments. You picked up BJL for Kirk, who had his army duty along with other factors. You've now picked up BJL. How has that roster change worked, and like what made BJL such a good pickup for you guys?
So pretty much the only thing we've really changed in terms of team dynamic, when we had Kirk on the roster, it was more I was playing more of entry positions, and now that Donut's in the roster, we're kind of like swapping out some spots, but there's still some like maps I play entry on and stuff. There's like nothing new, like big overhaul. He fits in pretty much into our system really well. In terms of like why he was such a great pickup, I mean statistically, like BGL, I don't think I've ever seen him do bad on game day. It's usually just his teammates. It's usually just his teammates surrounding him that usually like drop the slack. I mean, if you just look at that X Orbit roster, like he was doing good every game. It's just his team was just not helping him.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah.
And he also has like a you would think I don't know what the like public perception of him, but he's like very vocal too as a player, which is another thing we wanted to have in like our replacement for Kirk because Kirk was also a very vocal player. So it's
Yeah.
just nice to have that.
That was going to be something I was going to ask about because I heard that Kirk was one of those very vocal players and how you guys were finding it now that his voice was gone. But sounds like BJL is slotting in real well. Um, for those who might be less accommodated with tier 2 siege and like less in the know of how things are down here in NA, what why don't you tell us a little bit about your team, 1 HP, and like how you guys play and like what the strong points of you guys are?
Our roster consists of me, Aimkey, Big Guy, Skunky, Twist, and BGL. We kind of have multiple modes in terms of our play style. We can either play like really aggressive if we like see that teams are being like really passive and like slow. We like to call it the DCM or TK method because there's a joke with them being like 15 seconds, zero map control taken. So we have that mode, and then we also have like kind of the Beatty mode, which we did against like Carnico in our Xenon playoffs that like helped us to almost like beat them in the best of three. If you watch our border attacks, you can see us identify that these guys are kind of getting like overly aggressive, and you can see us take a step back and kind of play passive and get our freebies.
Okay.
So in terms of like, that play style, we're pretty flexible, and then overall, we're just kind of like, we're like a mix of a structured and then just like I like to call it like just dumbass team because we have a really strong backbone in terms of like Skunky and Big Guy, but then you also have like dumbasses like me and Twist who can just kind of make plays and or hero plays to like win rounds. So
So
pretty
it's
flexible overall.
so it's a bit of a controlled dumbassery, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, controlled chaos.
Yeah, side family of the controlled chaos expertise. Uh, Coming into this event, I don't think many people were surprised by you guys making it in. Obviously, as I mentioned, people were kind of shook by you guys not being automatically qualified or invited. That's the term. What are your expectations going to this event beyond just like obvious? Oh, we want to win it. Like, what are your realistic expectations of what does a successful run look like?
I mean, if we don't make playoffs, there's like something seriously wrong with our team. Like I don't know what to say if we don't make playoffs. I honestly, I'll be super embarrassed if we don't make playoffs. And before I continue with the question, the reason we didn't like invited is because one, we had Kirk on our team like before Element One, so
Oh
he was
yeah.
underage, and they also mostly picked the invited teams from the major quals that
Oh, I see. I
happened.
see. Yeah, that would do
So
it.
obviously, since we had an underager, we couldn't play them. So yeah, I think I was also underage at the time because I'm pretty sure major calls were before April. So
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, now that you mention it like that, that makes a lot more sense.
that's why we weren't invited, even though you could say that there's some teams that we're definitely better against. But going back to like what this season looks like, in my mind, it's 100% getting to playoffs and then trying to make the best playoff run that we can do. It would be great if we won. I think there's some matchup difficulties with some of the like better teams in this league. Just in terms of like our scrimming and past game days that we have against some of these teams. In terms who I think we'll see in the playoffs, because I know there's like CDAP's just posted like a bracket. I posted my bracket. I think it'll be Wildcard, SSG, ACAD, Aerial Arise, Triple G. Uh, oh my God, us. I don't know who else. I think I had Yardy's team in there, and then Chunner. But Chunner could be like swapped out for Dilemma or S2. I think that's just kind of like the wild card pick in my opinion.
Yeah.
If he'll get that last playoff spot between those three.
Yeah, of
Um,
those playoff teams, is there anyone that you really want to face, like any rematch or rivals that you really want to like get one over?
so I have like this kind of like fake beef with like Silent and Eddie, because we just make fun of each other. I don't know if they take it serious. I don't. So it would be cool to play them on SSG ACAT, just because it's always fun to play people who you have like a sort of quote unquote rivalry with.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. Also, I just haven't played that team before. Like besides like Silent, I haven't played like the rest of those players on game day before. So I'm like really interested to see like how they play and stuff.
All right. Yeah. And just to close out, final question: who are, in your mind, the top three teams in Element One going into it?
So I think the most underrated team right now is the Triple G team, which is Spirits, Xeno, Kool Aid,
CZ
us,
and
CZ, and Surf. I don't know if
yeah,
Surf's announced, but last time I played
he is
them, they had
public.
Surf.
Yeah, he's
He is
public.
public. Okay. So that roster, they're I think they're the most underrated team going in. I think they're going to be really strong. They're definitely in the top three. And then I think you have the two other ones, which are pretty easy, which is SSG ACAD and then Double A. In the terms of which one's better of SSG ACAD and Double A, can't really say because you can either look at the Gamers 8 quals, where that WGP roster, or now turned SSG ACAD roster, beat Double A. But then Double A has also just been consistently good throughout, and WGP hasn't played anything really besides those quals. So I
Yeah,
don't know which one's better there, but those would be the top three teams in my opinion going into this.
yeah, I do. I do want to pick your brain. Now that you mention that, I know I said final question, but I lied. It's my channel. Um, do you think all those tournament reps that Aerial Arise has had, like by doing all these off-season tournaments, is going to give them an edge over teams like GGG and SSG ACAD, or do you think it's going to be a disadvantage because there's more tape on them?
I don't even know if it's like just necessarily like tape, because I don't think there will be necessarily must like there won't be like significant counter stratting in Element One. I'll just be completely honest. Maybe in like playoffs and grand finals, but I think everyone kind of sort of knows how AAA play, or not AAA, Double A.
Yeah,
You have freaking Quartz running around like sprinting at you. You have Straw and Asian kind of like sitting back in like the lurk slash baiting roles, and then you have Poison either playing Monty or just like some random off, right?
yeah,
So like everyone knows how they play, and obviously they're very good at it. Let's make them a good team. It's not just like, oh, we know how to play, we can beat them. But like I've scrimmed like uh Triple G, but as I said before, I haven't played SSG ACAD, so I don't. I know how Triple G plays, and I like I said before, I think they're really good.
yeah.
Um, so honestly, if anything, I would say it's a disadvantage for Double A, but not again for not just tapes, just because uh it's more known how Double A plays, except in compared to these like new rosters that kind of reformed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And last thing, for real this time. Anything you want to say, Aimke?
Um, I mean, The only thing I want to say, because I know a lot of people are saying like Element 1 is tier 2. I wouldn't consider yourself a tier 2 team unless you make playoffs. That's kind of just like that's kind of an art like procedure of this. So if you look, there's like some teams like For My Gang and fucking Monkey Business, and I'm not trying to be mean, but it's a little troll that they got in here, a little troll. But
I don't know. Diffuser was trying to start shit with you in Game Rogue, so I'm just saying,
I mean,
shoot your
well,
shit.
I beat him 7-1 in the qual, so it doesn't matter.
All right, fair enough. Aimke, thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.